Varanasi blast ignored not once but twice. This is a NEWSX exclusive. We have looked at papers here that clearly say the documents with NEWSX prove that intelligence agencies were fully aware of the temple town being on the terror radar. Interrogations of both David Coleman Headley by the NIA clearly states that religious places like Banaras and Varanasi were in fact on that terror target. Also, sources telling us that Shehzad, the key accused in the 2008 Delhi blast case, had also specifically named the ghat at which a blast could take place, the Indian Mujahideen targeting that place. Let's take a closer look now at what exactly the investigators were told by David Headley when in fact they went to the United States to interrogate him. Like we said, 2 warnings ignored. The first one in June that David Headley made revelations to the NIA. No cognizance of that, wasn't taken seriously enough. Also a repeat on February, a second tip-off here with similar revelations coming from the Delhi blast accused Shehzad. Let's take a closer look now at what exactly these 2 men told investigators. David Headley told NIA investigators that, "I recollect watching videos of many sadhus." He also said, in fact, that the sadhus were taking a holy dip in the Ganga. He said, "We discussed," that is him and his Pakistani handlers, discuss attacks in such places in India. He said, quote, "I presume the places were Banaras or Varanasi or the Kumbh Mela." And like we mentioned also, the tip-off also coming from an interrogation with Shehzad. And here, the specific ghats names mentioned here, Shehzad clearly saying that the Indian Mujahideen had that on the terror radar. And like we've seen, this is getting so frustrating because we've seen that blame game that goes on between the center and the state. We'll play out those bites for you. But the fact remains that while the blame game goes on, these 2 intelligence warnings that NEWSX is exclusively bringing you tonight were downright ignored.
As far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned, a specific advice was given on the 25th of February 2010 that the Ashwamedh Ghat was one of the targets.
So I repeat, there was no specific actionable intelligence input. The last input regarding the Ashwamedh Ghat, as mentioned to you earlier, I won't go into the details of those cables, they are with me, but was on 25th of February.
Let's head across now to Tavleen for reporter's take at 8. She has in her hand that document, the NIA, the confession, if you like, from David Headley that was given to our National Investigating Agency officers.
Absolutely, Alistair. This, in fact, is a document which NEWSX has exclusively in its possession. This is, in fact, the NIA interrogation report which was done by, which was conducted in June this year, if you remember. Just 6 months back, intelligence agency, government authorities had a tip-off. They had specific inputs because, remember, David Coleman Headley had said that Varanasi is on one of the targets of the Lashkar-e-Toiba. And not only that, like Alistair was mentioning earlier, even Shehzad, one of the prime accused of the Delhi blast case, who was arrested in February, he too had told his interrogators that Varanasi is one of the prime time terror targets. Now, why the investigators did not take this seriously, that's really for the government to answer, Alistair.
Thanks very much for that, Tavleen, on that story. Joining us here with reporter's take at 8. And coming up, don't miss this, an interesting story from across the border. We'll have that for you in just a bit, but first, NEWSX asking at this point in time relevant questions to this story. Why were these specific inputs ignored? Also, why wasn't the UP police much more vigilant? And also, important,